Hi everyone, welcome back. The yarn that I am using for today's tutorial slash crochet with me is Capri Cotton yarn. This yarn can be found at your local Michaels. It's super soft and super cuddly. It stretches so well. I'm also going to be using a 5mm crochet hook. That is the hook that is recommended for this yarn. We're going to begin by making a slip knot, and then I'm going to continue by making a chain of 139. Make sure your number is a multiple of 11. So for me, I did 11 times 12, which was 132, and then I added 7. So make sure your number is a multiple of 12, then add 7 to that number. And I ended up with 132 plus 7 equaling out to be 139. You're then going to skip those first 3 stitches and then place a double crochet in the next 4 stitches. So once you have completed this part, you will notice that you're left with a total of 5 double crochet. So here you have it. You have a total of 5. That first one was that skipping of 3. And then you have 4 additional double crochet there. You're going to skip 2 stitches. And into the 3rd stitch, you're going to place 5 double crochet. So into your 3rd space, or 3rd stitch, you're going to place 5 double crochet into that same stitch. So into that 3rd stitch.
Yeah, backup generators, and it seemed like they did. So I don't know how long they'll go, but it sucks for them. That ain't what I'm doing tomorrow. Gotta go to Dylan and Laura's.
So after you have placed a total of 5 into that 3rd stitch, you're going to chain 2.
Call a couple nights. Tuesday.
And then you're going to skip 3 spaces or 3 stitches,
Monday.
and you're going to do another row of double crochet. So you're going to place 5 double crochet over the next 5 stitches. So here's 1. So remember, after you chain those 2, you're going to make sure you skip a space of 3 spaces, and then start your double crochet.
Because Monday you got
So that's 3,
Working errands.
4, and 5. So after you do your 5 double crochet there, you are never going to chain 2 after that point. You're just going to skip 2 stitches or 2 spaces, and then you're going to place 5 double crochet into that 3rd space like we did earlier. So into the 3rd space here, you're going to place 5 double crochet. Run with me, keep it G. Four, and 5. So after we do our 5 double crochet that's in the same space, we can refer to those as shells. After each shell, you want to chain 2. So I'm going to chain 2, and then I'm going to skip 3 spaces or 3 stitches, whichever you want to use, skipping 3. And into that 4th, you want to place a double crochet, and then you're going to make sure you place a total of 5 double crochet. So that's your first, it's your second, 3rd, So this is known as your row of double crochet. So if you notice, you're interchanging between a row of double crochet and like a shell of double crochet. So like before, you don't want to chain 2 after your row. You just want to skip 2 spaces or 2 stitches and then place your 5 double crochet into the same space, so your shell. So we're going to start using the term of shell. So you'll notice we'll do our row of 5, we'll skip 2, do our shell of 5, chain 2, do our row of 5, skip 2, do our shell of 5, chain 2, make sure we're skipping 3 spaces, then do our row of 5, and we'll keep doing that, alternating back and forth. And you want to keep doing that until you reach the ending of your row. So at the ending of your row, you want to chain up 3, turn your work, and you're going to, that chain of 3 counts as your first double crochet. You want to place a total of 5 double crochet. So placing a double crochet on top of each of those 5 double crochet. So that row of double crochet, you want to keep a row of 5 double crochet for your next row as well. So if you look here, you'll notice that I have that same row of 5. I'm keeping that row of 5. So you never want to chain 2 after your row of 5. You're going to go into that first space of your previous shell. So that first double crochet of your previous shell, you want to go into that space and create another shell. A shell is those 5 double crochet into the same space. After a shell, you always want to chain 2. So we have our shell here. You want to chain 2, and then you want to maintain that row of 5. So that row of 5 double crochet that you have there, you're going to go into that row of 5 and create another row of 5 double crochet. So you're maintaining it each row. So I made a little boo-boo by going into the wrong space, but I corrected it there. So you see here, I am going to the top of that row of 5, and I'm going to place my 5 double crochet And remember, after your row of 5, you never want to chain 2. So you'll go right into that first double crochet of your previous shell of the previous row. So that first space of that shell, I went into it, and I'm placing my shell for my second row because I'm currently on the second row. So you're placing another shell. So you'll be placing a shell into the first double crochet of your shell from the previous row each time. So I've done that there. And of course, after you make a shell, you want to chain 2 and continue that row of 5 double crochet. Alright, so as you can see, I am maintaining that row of 5 for each row. I'm keeping that row of 5 there. Remember, after your row of 5, you never want to chain 2. You just want to go right into that the first space of that shell from the previous row and create your next shell for your current row that you're on. So that's what I'm doing here. Remember, a shell is 5 double crochet into the same space. Remember, a shell you will chain 2 after every shell. So after this shell, I'm going to chain 2, and then I'm going to maintain my row of 5. And I'm going to keep doing this. I'm going to keep alternating on and off, on and off, on and off. From this point, you want to work up until your desired length of your top or your dress. I will come back once I have did a substantial amount of more rows, and I will come back and show you guys. Okay guys, so I have completed a total of 33 rows. And for the sake of this tutorial, I'm only going to be showing you it like more so as a top, but later on I do plan on continuing to work downward to change this into a dress. So I want to extend this into a dress, but for now, for the sake of this tutorial, I've just pulled my yarn through here, and I'm going to have this as a top. So I don't want to cut my yarn because I plan on still working, so I'm going to find the other end of my yarn, and I'm going to start on the upper part of my top. So this is the bottom. And this is the top. So I already have my stitch markers or my pieces of yarn for where I'm going to start that upper neck increase part. Let's see here. And this is your foundation chain row, so the row that you initially started with, I'm on that side of my top. So I'm going to just zoom in a little. To show you guys how I am going to do this part. Okay, so I already have my stitch markers labeled for the center. So you are going to go into the third double crochet here. So the third double crochet, you're going to place your hook in, create a slip knot, pull through, chain up 3, and this is going to serve as your first double crochet. Then you're going to move into the next space with a double crochet. Oops, let's try that again. And then the next space with a double crochet. And then you are going to go right into the space that is right before our like shell So this space here, you're going to place 5 double crochet inside the very same space. You're not going to chain here. You're not going to do any chains. You're just going to go right into that space and place 5 double crochet. After you have completed your shell of 5 double crochet, you're going to chain 2 and go right into these double crochet on top of these double crochet, and you're going to make 1 double crochet on top of each of these double crochet, so you should end up with a total of 5. And like before, you're going to go into the space, not this space, but the space right beside it here, and place 5 double crochet inside this space here where my thumb is pointing. You're not doing any chains here. You only chain 2 after a shell. So you're just going to yarn over and go right into this space with 5 double crochet. And now we are at our other stitch marker here. So remember, after a shell or after our 5 double crochet in the same stitch, you're going to chain 2. And then like on our other side, we went into the first 3 only. So you're going to place a double crochet into the first 3 only. And like before, what we would do with our pattern, you're going to chain 3, turn your work, and you're going to continue how we were working all before, placing double crochet. Our chain 3 counts as our first double crochet, so we place 2 more, like so. Continue working, placing 5. Keep working as we would normal, so I'm placing my 5 double crochet into the first space of our previous shell. So here was our previous shell, and then into the first space of the shell, placing our 5 double crochet, which is our other shell. And then you're going to chain 2. Remember, after a shell, you always chain 2. You're going to continue here. So it should be fairly simple. You continue here. At the end of here, you're going to go into that very first space of this shell and do the same. Chain 2, complete the 3 here. Chain 3, turn your work, and continue working until you have about 2.5 inches long. So when you can place it flat, the part that we're working, and it measures 2.5 inches, then you are complete. Until then, continue to work until you reach that part, and I will be back. Okay guys, so I have managed to reach 2.5 inches of following this pattern. So that for me is 6 rows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So eventually what you are going to do is you are going to Here at the end of your row, you are going to chain however many that you feel that you need to chain to be able to tie around one side of your neck, and however many chains that is, you are going to reattach yarn in this corner here, and then you're going to chain the same amount of stitches, make it equal so you can tie this part around your neck to stay up. So I'm not going to do that for now. For now, I'm just going to pull a long piece of chain here. Then you're going to cut, and I'm just going to leave that here. I'm not going to chain up anything right now. So we will return back to this part, but make sure you have pulled through so that this does not come undone. And then I'm going to return back to the bottom half of my work, the bottom side of my work. Which is here, the bottom side of my work. And I'm going to go back to normal of continuing the pattern until I have almost ran out of all of this yarn. So my purpose for kind of stopping and completing the top part of this top slash dress was to make sure I don't run out of this yarn without being able to show you guys that part. So that part is here and it is done. So now we can continue back down here of making this as long as possible. So if you have plenty of this yarn left, you can, you could have continued to just work on as long as you want to make it first, and then you could go back and start this part here. But because I'm working with limited yarn, I wanted to just go ahead and make sure I have this part completed, and then I could continue working down here so I don't have to worry about like, oh my god, I've run out of yarn, So anyways, we're going to continue working. I'm going to continue working until I have a little bit of yarn left just to be able to stitch up my back. So I have two sides. Okay, so of course I'm going to have to go through at the end of my project, and I'm going to have to slip stitch both of these sides together to close up my back. And I am also going to have to finish my straps for this part. So I'm going to continue working, and then I'll come back when I have reached the desired length that I would like to. Okay?
What is this? Watch, white concealer all over her face. Look at how beautiful she looks. If you're an emoji, you know I did this white concealer hack and I loved it, but I only did it on my under eyes. We're just gonna get right into it. So I'm putting concealer on my under eyes, put some on her forehead, some here, and some here. I'm gonna do this under a minute. We're gonna let it get tacky. Now let that all over your face. I don't want to show too much lighting because I also want to do a flash test. Let's go into some foundation. Going in with my NARS soft matte. This is my shade. Don't even fucking talk about it. Blend that out. Ooh. Listen, it doesn't look promising now, but just wait. Blend, blend, blend. Down to your neck. Do your concealer on the rest of your face. Here's the other side of the front camera. Here's a flash. What is this? Watch, white concealer all over her face. Look at how beautiful she looks. If you're an emoji, you know I did this white concealer hack and I loved it, but I only did it on my under eyes. We're just gonna get right into it. So I'm putting concealer on my under eyes, put some on her forehead, some here.
Okay guys, so once you have reached your desired length, you want to bring both sides together and you're going to slip stitch both sides together. And once you reach this point here, you will make it your last slip stitch, chain 2, pull tight and cut your work, and then you'll flip it back the other way, and the raised ridges that's going to be here from the slip stitching will not show once you flip it back this way. And then with the top here, the top portion, as we discussed earlier, you're going to make your desired amount of chains on this side of your work, and then you're going to insert your hook on this side of it and make the same amount of stitches for another chain. And this is where you're going to tie this part around your neck. So you'll have a chain here and a chain here tied around your neck, and you'll have your top put together, and then you could just slide your top onward and then tie it at your neck here. Guys, I'm just coming here to show you the result of this top before I continue the dress portion of it. So this is how it should look. And as far as the back, this is how your back will look. Okay. If you were to flip it inside out, you'll see that ridge work in there from combining both sides together. So I just wanted to come back and show you guys the finished product for the tutorial. However, I am going to continue to make this very, very long. Just wanted to show you guys how it was looking so far.